welcome everybody, particularly to David. So yeah, so I'm the chair of planning for this year. So we start with the open session. So I think you described it as your 3 minutes, didn't you, David? As you're you're the only member of the public here. So would you like to make a start? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So yeah, I wanted to speak to you about application reference 91637, which is for land adjacent to 226 Dunford Road. My name is David Drake. I'm the owner-occupier of the house at number 4 Dover Lane. Despite the house number, ours is the first house along Dover Lane from its junction with Dunford Road and directly faces the plot on which the planning application has been made. And therefore, although a number of local residents have made comments about the proposal, our house would be the one that would suffer the greatest impact if the proposed design was to go ahead. So you've got a copy of the objection letter that I sent last week to Kirklees Council, but there are 2 points I would particularly like to draw out, if I may. The first and my main concern is the impact of the proposed development on daylight, sunlight, and outlook for the rooms on the east side of our house. The proposed plot will occupy, or the proposed building would occupy almost the entire field of vision from the windows on this side, both vertically and horizontally, and it will have a hugely detrimental impact on the levels of daylight and sunlight in the rooms on this side. I did some of my own research into what planning guidance exists for daylight impacts and found that the BRE, the Building Research Establishment, recommend both a 25-degree and a 45-degree rule as a means of assessing such impacts. And you'll have seen in my objection letter that I've explained that the plans as put forward do not accurately represent the distance between our house and the proposed new building, so can't be used as a reliable basis for making an assessment of this impact. But based on my measurements, and put very simply, the proposed building would create an 11-metre high house wall at a distance of only 8 metres from our windows. This would break certainly the 25-degree rule, and I believe also the 45-degree rule in parts. It would completely obliterate the outlook from the windows on this side and prevent any sunlight reaching these windows, which would massively reduce the level of daylight coming through these windows. And if necessary, I can provide details of my measurements and some photographic evidence for this if needed. In my view, the limitations created by the size and the shape of the plot mean that the only way to reduce these impacts to an acceptable level would be to significantly reduce the height of the proposed building, which is something I've suggested in my letter to the council. The second point I wanted to bring out is just a more general one around the cumulative impact of increasing parking pressure in the vicinity and the dangers that this is increasingly resulting from this. Councillors may already be aware of the extremely dangerous situation that frequently prevails for drivers exiting Dover Lane onto Dunford Road, which is due to high levels of illegal parking across and around the exit of Dover Lane. This situation is already worsening as a result of other developments, for instance, at the old Frank Platts workshop. And it's worth noting that when planning permission was originally granted for my property 30 years ago, a condition was imposed that part of the plot was given over to provide additional garage capacity for 4 vehicles, which still exists further along Dover Lane. Given that current situation, it would seem to me a very backward step to be further reducing parking capacity in this area. And if permission is to be given to any development on this plot, urgent consideration must be given to measures to alleviate the parking pressure around the exit of Dover Lane before we have a serious road traffic accident. And some of the other residents locally have raised this as their primary concern. I just wanted to have the opportunity to ensure that councillors are able to take account of these very specific issues in considering the response to the planning department. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. And if there is an opportunity to take any questions, then obviously I'd be very happy to do so. And I hope I've made 3 minutes.
Well done. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, David. Yeah, we have to agree to suspend standing orders so we can ask you questions. So can I just have an agreement that we can suspend standing orders? Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. So does anyone have any questions for David?
No, I don't. I've read the letter, and I've driven up, so I'm well aware of the situation. But yeah, it's very well presented. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? No. So thank you, David. I mean, you.
Rachel.
So, sorry, Rachel. Rachel.
We can't hear you, Councillor.
Oh. Oh, new headset.
Oops. That's a computer audio, I think. Sorry, Rachel's still on here.
Write it down, Rachel.
Write it down and hold it up.
You're
frightening everybody tonight, Mary.
For us.
Yeah, I went and had another look at the site as well.
Oh.
I think the key thing is the markings on the diagram of the position of the existing garages enables you to very precisely see where the corner of the new building would actually be in reality.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Are the
Can I
buildings?
just check? Can you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
You
hear
can.
Rachel.
Can hear you now, Rachel.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify with David whether his property is the one that's basically directly opposite the existing garages, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm absolutely clear which one it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Great. Any more questions, councillors? No. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, David. I mean, you're welcome to stay if you like, but that's entirely up to you.
If I do stay, I presume I cannot speak now. Once we
No,
once
you
go
can't.
through
No,
these.
you can't speak. No.
Yeah.
No.
It feels probably most appropriate that I step out because I want you to be able to feel. Yeah, I'm sure you would speak freely anyway, but to discuss it freely, probably. But and will you let me know the outcome, or will I just see that as posted on the minutes?
I'll let you know the outcome.
Okay.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. If you do have any questions or seek any further, want any further evidence, then please do let me know. But I'll step out at this point.
Thank you very much. I'll just check before you do. I'll just check with Councillor Pogson, who's just joined us, whether he had any questions about the application number 6, the one on Dunford Road. No. Okay. Fine. Thanks. Thanks very much, then, David. And
Thank you.
thanks. Right.
Bye.
Bye then. Bye-bye. I'm glad you got your audio.
Can I just apologise for being late, first of all?
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much. I'm glad you got the audio going, Councillor Hogley there. It just could have been very difficult. Right. Moving on to item 106. Recording. This meeting is going to be recorded by the Deputy Clerk, and there's no member of the public here now to ask for a recording. So apologies for absence.
I've got any.
No apologies received for absence. Thank you. Item 108, members and officers' personal and pecuniary disclosable interests. Any items? Nope. And written requests for GPI? Nope.
Nope.
Nothing. Right. Any items to partners asking that discussed in private session? That I think we would have said no if we had been members of the public here. Right. Let's move on to the minutes of the previous meeting on the 23rd of November. Right. I assume we've had them some time. I'm assuming you've all looked at them. Are you happy to confirm the minutes? Show of hands, please. Confirm the minutes. Thank you. Right. Completed Kirklees applications list. Again, we've had that for some time, so we'll note that. Could we note the completed list, please? Thank you. Right, moving on to new planning, the new planning applications. Let's go. More than last time, but not as many as not as many as sometimes. So, right. The first one is Brockholes. So, Michael, any?
I'd support this. I think it's not out of, context with these other properties similar and with the conservatory to the rear in this sort of location. I have no objections to it at all.
Are we happy to support that? If you're voting on individually, I'm happy to support that one. Yeah, support that application. Right, moving on to the next one. Pat, Homley Central, please.
I support that. I mean, it's a certificate of lawfulness, so I'm not sure whether we've got any say in it anyway. But,
Councillor Blackett, I've just got to go a second. My mum's just set her alarm off.
Yes.
right. Oh, poor Rich.
Oh.
It's a certificate of lawfulness, so I'm not sure whether we actually have any rights over that, but I couldn't see any problems with it.
There was very little information, wasn't there? There weren't any plans. I mean, I didn't really feel able to comment on it really, because I just felt that there wasn't enough information. Anybody else?
If there's lack of information, that's all we can say. If we haven't got a copy of the plans, we can't comment on it.
Yeah, but it's only decking. It's some decking.
It's only decking, but if decking needs planning permission, they've obviously put some decking there without planning consent, and now they're wanting a certificate of lawfulness. So
I'm quite intrigued because
they're in the wrong, and it isn't a point of just saying it's only decking. If we haven't got sufficient information, we can't comment.
Yeah, I am struck that there were about 3 from Honley that were all retrospective. So I don't know whether
You've been naughty in Honley.
So we've all there's been an outbreak of civil unrest in Honley, or a conscientious officer has been going through paperwork and kind of saying to people, by the way, I've just noticed this. I don't know what, but
somebody's fallen out with somebody in Honley, so don't worry about it.
Right,
it's probably a neighbour squabble. Yeah.
Can we move on? Sorry, Michael.
Yeah. It's been in place for 4 years, hasn't it, with no objection up to this point, and now someone's objecting to it. So, and it's a decking in area, isn't it? And usually, an application of lawfulness is when it's, as opposed to a retrospective planning application, it's when, well, we don't know if you need planning permission, or we don't know if you need planning permission. But if you put in for a certification of lawfulness, that gets it sorted, done and dusted. So, yeah, I think they should I support it, I think.
Right. Okay, so you have 2 Brockholes councillors. I'd be happy to go with support in that case if you feel there's enough information. Yes, okay, so support. Thank you. Right, next one, Home Valley Memorial Hospital. Was another thing.
Hospital wants some new windows, and they're satisfactory in keeping with the listed building officers' requirements. I suggest that we recommend approval.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Right. One thing I thought on this one is in the report from the Kirklees Conservation Officer was a recommendation to consider using wood for the windows, which I thought was a good, it was a positive step for this particular kind of wood. I can't remember the adjective now, but because it's impossible to recycle UPVC, and there was presumably a comment from Councillor Roberts, was there?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't pass it on. It was just a verbal comment. She just gave me verbal comment rather than a written one. She said exactly the same as you, that she prefer it to be wooden windows, but she was okay about it being double glazed.
Right.
Madam Chairman, they're on about PVC. Wouldn't PVC be cleaner and PVC easier to clean if there was an pandemic explosion down there or something? I would think that PVC would be more susceptible to being kept clean than what wood would. Wood would soak it up, whereas PVC wouldn't.
Don't think we need to be too concerned about that. I mean, I think they're going to be UPVC anyway. So yeah, I guess that's the point. Right, can we, so we're happy to support that one, everybody? Yep, thank you. Sorry, application number 4, which had feedback, which is Upper Holme Valley, and we've had feedback from Kath, which was to support the application. So it's it's something that used to be 2 houses and has been put together, and they're wanting to recreate the 2 houses again. Are people happy to agree with Kath, support that? Thank you. Right. Number 5, again, we had feedback from Councillor Kath Bellamy, that she saw no problem with this one, with number 5. It is a very large extension in relation to the size of the property. Did anybody else have a look at it? Rachel?
Sound's gone, Councillor.
Sorry, your sound's gone again.
Oh.
Did anybody else look at it? Oh, no.
Lots of feedback, Councillor, but
What?
I was talking to Councillor Hogley, telling her feedback.
Still cut. No sound. Shall we just continue?
Move on to the next one and come back to that one.
Yeah, right. Did you, Rachel, can you hear us? If you thumbs up if you can hear us. You want to support that one? Yes, okay, so we're supporting it, thank you. Right, now we come to the interesting one, number 6 on Dunford Road. Right, any comments? This is the application has been modified. It looks to me as though the building is less tall than it was, and I did go down and have a look, and a lot of the points about parking. Okay, those four garages look to me as though nobody had driven in and out of them for decades, really. Goodness, there's nothing there. It is at the moment a very messy. It's a very messy site. You know, it's a bit of an eyesore.
Had the previous planning permission on the site, or was the application before withdrawn? Because it seems that things seem to have come to a head now. Was there a previous application?
There was a previous application. They've changed. Yeah.
What was our comment at that time?
Changed the design. Well, we supported it. which is a point that David Drake made in his email. We supported it, and I mean, difficult to know about the dimensions.
Has anything changed to make us change our minds now, other than his comment and his letter? Because if it's on his comment and his letter, I don't think we should be changing our decision.
Yeah, I agree with that, Paul. I don't think we should, and I think a house on that site would look a great deal better, an improvement really for the street scene. Has anybody else got feelings?
I can't see any objections for it really.
No. So,
because as you say, there is parking, but you need to use the garages.
Yeah. So, anybody? Sorry, Rachel.
It is a right mess now.
Yeah, it is a right mess. Absolutely, it's got. Yeah. Hello, Tom. Hi, Tom. We're talking about application number 6, which is the one on Dunford Road. I don't know whether you were able to have a look at it. Oh, no, anything of any comments. We're just hoping that Rachel can sort out the audio. Oh.
I haven't looked at that one.
Yeah, fine. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'll be in 2 minutes. I'm just going to get my agenda on the screen. I don't know if I received the agenda for this meeting, so I'm just going to get out of it. It's going to be 2 minutes.
You're slightly quiet. I think you're slightly quiet.
You're barely audible, Tom.
It takes up to me. It's quiet.
Can you hear me better now?
No.
Just.
I can hear.
Markedly.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Tom. It's our IT, isn't it? I'm just wanting to see if we can get it, because this isn't Rachel. This is Holmfirth Central, so it's Rachel. So I'm just hoping that Rachel can communicate.
Is it worth Rachel typing into the chat?
Yes.
And miming?
Yes. Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Written comments.
Yeah.
Nothing rude, Rachel.
Pardon?
I once said put some comments in the box, and I got such a comment back. It was
right.
Yeah.
We've got Rachel's comment.
Yeah. Yeah. So are we? So is our message to Kirklees is that we still support development on the site, but we want the assurance that officers in making, well, when the decision is made, officers and councillors take into account the specific objections from residents.
Yeah.
I think that's the tactful way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. Are people happy with that?
Yeah.
Supporting development, we just don't want it overbearing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Are we happy with that? Can we show of hands? Yeah. Thank you. Good. Right. Number 7, which is in Hepworth Crescent.
I can tell you something, Councillor Hogley. Councillor Hogley, is it? It's not a problem because you're logging in as Home Valley Parish Council, is it? Have you tried just logging in as yourself on your own Zoom account? Because obviously Liz is on the Home Valley Parish Council account, so.
I think she's gone off to do it,
She's
Rich.
gone off to do that.
Well, before you even finished your sentence.
Well spotted. Well spotted, Rich. Excellent. Right. So number
Bill Home Valley
application number.
Council,
Oh, it's correct. Yeah. Number 7, Tom. Sorry, which is Hepworth Crescent, which we know well, right?
Yeah, I know it well. There looks to be space there at the side. I haven't received any complaints through. I think it's okay.
Right. Anybody else? Any of you? It does. You know, I know where it is as well, but I mean, it does. It unbalances that row of houses because it was, you know, designed and balanced, a balanced row of houses. Now it's stuck a chunk on the end, but
Yeah.
That's So I want to support that.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Yes. Okay. That's to support then. Hepworth Crescent. Moving on. One for you, Daryl. Or Dorry.
He's on mute.
You're speaking. Daryl, you're mute. You're on mute. Daryl, can you hear? You're on mute. Can you hear us? You're on mute.
Can you hear us? You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Hello.
Hooray!
Hello. I took a drive up there towards the garden centre, and I couldn't see anything wrong because it's in keeping what they want to do with all the other houses around it. So most of the houses are on one side of the road. And it's not going to impact the view, and no one's ever going to see it unless you go up that road.
Yeah.
Just seemed in keeping.
Yeah. Anybody else? I thought it was an improvement on the previous, you know, the existing house.
The scruffy front of the building, yes.
Yeah, I think it's. So we support that one.
And I'm okay with that, yeah.
Okay, support that one. Thank you. Right. The next one is yours, Michael.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, I know where this is and what have you. And yeah, I think it's currently a bungalow, isn't it, with a house either side of it. And so I think putting a first floor extension on it is not going to impact too much on the area. And I mean, they're quite a little bit spaced out on that little wood lane, so I don't have a problem with it. They're still retaining parking and stuff like that, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was okay as well. Okay. Support.
Can I be heard now?
Yes.
Yes. Brilliant.
Computer.
I was thinking. I was just thinking, it's all very well you typing your comments in for planning, but it'd be quite a challenge to chair a meeting silently.
It would. Well,
Yes.
fortunately, we have another computer, so.
Good. It's a really radical solution, that, doesn't it? So excellent. Right. We've skipped on a bit, Rachel. It's nothing controversial. Moving on to another Hepworth one, number 10. Tom?
Yeah, this is up at Gatehead Lane. It's out in the, well, it's quite in the middle of nowhere, but it's quite out of the way from anybody else. So I don't think it'll cause any problems to anybody. I think it seems okay.
Yeah. Yes, I thought it was okay. So we support that one.
Yeah.
The Latham Barn. Thank you. And then, good job, Rachel. Rachel can speak, because the next one is the Holmfirth Central. So number 11, Rachel.
11.
Mossview.
Okay. This was permission for a pre-existing shed. That seemed okay to me, to be honest. I was happy with it.
Yep. Fine. Happy with that? Yep. I thought it was okay too. Right. Number 12. Oh, there's a lot from Hepworth this time, aren't there? Number 12.
Yeah, this
on
is
Far Lane.
Yeah, this is just for an extension in place of where conservatory is at the moment. I think it seems okay. I'm just having a double check of it now, because I looked at it earlier. I think it looks all right. Do you have any problems with it, Chair?
No, I thought it was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying
Yeah,
to
no,
work out
yeah.
where it is.
Yeah, I know where it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
fine.
okay, we're happy with that one?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. The next one is Upperthong. The Bernie Bernie sent her message, which was supporting, and she drew attention to the fact that the applicant had taken pre-application advice from Kirk Lees, and the application responded to that.
So if it's in a conservative area, are we sort of just saying yes? Isn't the conservation area meant to be conserving what's there?
Are you suggesting we don't support it?
Yes.
Right. We'll have to have a vote on this then.
It's not a particularly distinctive house.
It's not. No.
Should we be conservating up there?
What's the reason for objection, Darryl?
It's in a conservation area, so it should conserve, not be building.
If it's in a conservation area, as long as it's done tastefully, it's all right.
Or maybe we should put the rider on as long as it's done tastefully.
Right.
As long as it's done, it's done within the views of the listed building.
It's quite a big plot, 51 Binns Lane, isn't it?
Big plot.
Well, yeah, it's a big plot, so it'd be a big extension.
If it's a big plot, you could put another house in it then.
It is a big plot. Sorry, Tom was waiting to come in.
Want to do that,
and then Rachel.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if the conservation office is happy with it, they'll look at the plans and check out the area.
Yes,
and if the conservation office is happy with it, I'm happy for it to go ahead. So it's subject to conservation officer at Kirklees.
Yeah.
Okay, Rachel,
yeah,
comment.
I'm happy to do that, but I was going to say it's not a huge extension. It's a small one for a downstairs toilet and expanding an office slightly. Compared to the scale of many extensions, it's a pretty minor.
It's a two-story side extension. It's not like a small thing, is it?
Yeah, it's a toilet downstairs and an office expanded upstairs.
It's quite a conservation area, so someone needs to have a look.
They're very narrow. So shall we say that we will
I like Tom's idea.
To
approval subject to listed building officer.
Yeah,
it's not a listed building; it's conservation area. Yeah. So yeah, we're happy with that. Okay, we're already happy with that. So right. The next one is a 4-stone one. I don't know, Tom, if you had time. Yeah, thanks, Tom.
You'll know what it is.
Yeah, I've had a look at this one. It's basically, well, I say it's a bit more of a stone's throw from where my new house is. I'm just looking at it now on Google Maps. They've got plenty of parking space out at the front of the house, and this looks like it's like the driveway at the side of it. So it's a bit of like space that hasn't really been used. So it's going to be a side extension to like make the bedrooms a bit bigger and the lounge a bit bigger. I can't think there's anything wrong with it. It seems fine. It's just adding onto the space that they've got. It seems okay.
Anybody else?
Keep your neighbours happy, Tom.
Okay. Are we happy to support that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Support. Thank you. Number 15 is Water Street in Holmbridge, and Kath Bellamy would support it. She's saying there are similar balconies already exist on other properties. So anybody else look? I thought it was all right. Okay, support.
I'd say it was the same as 13.
Thank you. It's just a balcony, just a very small balcony at the back of
the there's balconies and there's balconies though. If it's a conservation area, we should give it its value. If it wasn't a conservation area, you just build anything there, wouldn't you? But it is, so there's a reason. So it needs to be looked at, in my opinion. Otherwise, why have a conservation area?
So you would
conserve things.
You would prefer that we put the same thing as before for the conservation area?
Yes, please. Anything with a conservation area needs to look at, in my opinion.
Well, it will. It will be looked at as a matter of routine.
We just need to make a note that that's what the Parish Council would like to do, I think.
Right, we need to make a decision here, then, people. I'm feeling inclined to say that we would support it. It's a very small. It's a very small addition to the rear, overlooking the river at the moment. But perhaps we could combine the two and say we'd support it, but ask, how would we put it? Ensure that the Kirklees Conservation Officer looks at it. Paul, Michael, sorry.
So I mean, my computer dropped out, and so I wasn't really there for the discussion. But my main sort of feelings are that it's not a preservation area; it's a conservation area. If it's a preservation area, that means don't touch it, leave it, preserve it exactly as it is. It's a conservation area, so it's about keeping its general ambience and amenity and visual amenity that it's currently got. So I think there are hierarchies of preservation and conservation, and it's not preservation; it's conservation. So provided it is in keeping with the other buildings and amenity, visual amenity around it, I would support.
Support?
Yeah, I'd agree.
So, well, should we take a vote, just straightforward support? Will you take a vote on that, in those in favour? Okay, so straightforward support. The next one is another song. So there's a comment from Judith, from Councillor Roberts.
You just said support.
Support. Okay. Anybody else look? Right.
Yeah, so it's also around the back. I think it looks fine.
Yeah. It keeps the integrity of the facade of the building, I think. So I think support. Okay. Happy to support. Yeah. Right. Number 17. Right. Paul.
Yes, Mary.
Yes, this is a shutter on the front of Skulls Post Office.
It's a job when we need to have shutters and things like that in places like Skulls.
My feeling too.
I think it's a sign of the times, but it's poor. It's not in keeping. It'll look unwieldy. The one good thing about Skulls Post Office is it is reopened because it closed during lockdown.
Yeah. COVID.
And it's been reopened by other members of a family, and it's going to be used as a shop and not as dwellings as was predicted. It's a catch-22 situation. Do we accept this shutter, which is for safety reasons, which doesn't look in keeping with the rest of the properties in the area, or do we say no and hopeful that they'll stay where they are? They'll stop open. I don't know what your view, Mary, is, but that's my concern.
I'll just ask Michael first what his view is.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the application. The supporting information. It says it's a requirement by the insurance company. So, whilst I agree, I don't like the look of shutters and shuttered buildings. If they can't get insurance on the property without it being insured, and post offices is generally a slightly higher standard of insurance that you would need to a normal retail shop. And so I mean, I support post offices staying open wherever we can keep them open, and post offices and shops, and you know, it's one less car journeys into someone down to Home Firth if you know, every time someone uses the shop. So whilst I don't like it, I would support it.
Thank you, Michael.
The post office, Michael, is at the rear of the shop. It isn't at the front where this shutter is. They could put security on the post office between the shop and the internally. They can have security between the post office and the shop.
Sorry, well, Rachel's been waiting to come in for a while, and then Michael.
I was just going to say, I mean, yes, the appearance of a shutter isn't great, but to be fair, they do say in their one of the documents that they are willing to put a painted sign in front of it. So on that basis, I'm quite happy for them to have a shutter if they've got a provision for being able to effectively cover it up. So that then you don't get the aesthetic impact of the shutter, but you get the security element of the shutter, because that's what they say in their submission.
Yeah.
So I think we should take them up on that, to be honest, because that meets both requirements.
Michael?
No, just that, I mean, if the insurance company, I mean, there is other alternatives, but sometimes the insurance companies can be quite blatant and say, no, you know, entrances and no access points should be shuttered. And if that's what they say, that's stuck at you.
And of course, it could be up during the day, it could be up. So at the moment, it'll hardly be seen, but obviously be different in the summer. I thought the worst thing was the very garish adverts in the window next to it and in the photograph. Anyway,
wasn't that a picture of an example of a shop? Because I thought that as well, and then I thought, I'm sure Skulls Post Office doesn't look like that, and it doesn't. It's just an example of a shop with a shutter, like they're proposing putting in. So it's a bit misleading.
I thought it looked very much like Skulls Post Office. Anyway, let's. I think we're moving to support this. So, do we support this? Yeah, support. Thank you. Right, Michael.
Yes, I'm just
agricultural building for you.
Agricultural building for me. Just wait to find it again. Then what number are we on? When I look at the plans again, things disappear.
We're 18. We're 18.
Yeah, Springfield Barn.
It's another retrospective one.
18. Yeah, home. Where am I looking? Where am I looking?
It's already built.
Yes, yes. I'm just trying to find out where it. Yeah.
Well, with the what? With
Oldfield Road.
Yeah, Oldfield Farm, Oldfield Road. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
fine with it. I'm fine with that. It's quite.
Well, there was a previous application which was approved in June 20 for a barn of approximately the same size, because I thought I recognised this. So this one's going to sit next to, and this one's not wooden. This one's regularly tin. Okay, are we moving to support?
I would support, but.
So I think support. Yeah. Okay, support. Right. The next one is Upper Thong and number 19, which is Netherhouse Cottage. And Councillor Feeney's would support this as the ward councillor. Did anybody else look? Rachel? Yeah.
I'd support it, but I think we should back up the fact that it asks for a bat roosting feature, or rather the bat survey does, so it ought to enact the recommendations of the bat survey. The design.
Right, yeah, so we just add that as a note. So support, yeah, thank you. Oh, back at Barnside, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting one, and this has a ring of familiarity about it as well, doesn't it? Right, yeah. Tom.
Where you used to live, Mary. Yeah, I've had a look at this one. It's an agricultural barn at the moment that they're trying to make into a bunk barn, so before tourists to stay there during the holidays and such. It mentions in the statement about diversification, and farmers need to diversify and that to keep going and trying to do different things. I think it's okay. It shouldn't have much of an impact on people nearby because the farm is a bit out of the way. So I don't have much of a problem with it. What are your thoughts?
With this particularly the same, well, looks to me like the same application came before us, and we supported it for the reasons that Tom said, it was refused, but it was refused by Kirklees Council, refused planning permission. What they said is inappropriate development in the green belt, and also that the existing structure is not substantial, so they turned it down. And now they've come back with what looks pretty much the same from what I can remember.
Right.
Anybody else? Any feelings? Yeah.
Can we just?
Paul, yeah.
Can we just reiterate what we said before? If it was right before, it's right now. If Thomas thinks it's the thing that's wanted for Barnside,
Yeah.
I'm happy to support the application. If it is that it's Kirklees are saying it's inappropriate in the greenbelt, all bunk barns will be found within the greenbelt.
Yeah, true. But Rachel.
So if there's going to be anything like that for that sort of accommodation for those type of people that want that accommodation, this is the ideal place for it. I would think there's plenty of car parking up there.
Yeah.
And everything else, and he owns the land around it, so there's nobody else to be involved.
Yeah, Rachel.
Yeah, I think we should reiterate our support. I think it's good because it supports leisure, and it's a
yes,
not incompatible with preserving our pleasant land.
Okay, thanks. Right, Rachel. Sorry, support. Are we going to supporting the bunk barn? Yeah. Right. So we stick with our previous decision. Right. And right, number. Oh, it's another Hepworth one. Sorry, we're working you hard tonight, Tom.
Yeah, it's my busy night. I can go months without a planning application. And about 6 or 7.
You get a glut.
I've had a look at this one. It's an extension to part of the side and at the back. It's not a huge extension. It's going to go into their garden space, which they've got plenty of space, and it shouldn't intrude too much on the neighbours. So I think it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to speak? Or you happy to support that? Yeah. Support. Thank you. Number 22, Stafford Dairy. You haven't been so busy tonight, have you, Pat?
It looked.
Here's your chance.
It looked fine to me. I can't see any. I support it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah, I walk up and down past there quite regular, and I had a look at it, and yeah, I mean, it's an old farmhouse, but there is sort of like residential sort of encroached round it, you know, sort of the estates. And so putting a garage there on it and what have you wouldn't be too much intensification really of the site. You know, it's quite pretty much in keeping with the area now as the area has become. So I'd be fine with it.
Good. Okay, support. Happy? People happy to support? Right. The last one. Rachel.
Yeah, this is just beyond the telephone exchange. So as you go out past Holmfirth Tech, so it's outside the conservation area of Holmfirth. Extensions just add a bedroom, a snug and utility, and it seemed okay to me.
Yep. Anybody else have a look? Yeah. Yes, I did. I thought support it. So should we go for support? Support. Thank you. There was a lot of geotechnical stuff, very complex geotechnical report, which I couldn't really make head or tail of. But there was a one lovely phrase, I thought, which was about more competent soils lower down. And I thought it's a great thing to be a more competent soil. It was wonderful. Right.
I'd like some of that in my garden so I can sit in a deck chair.
And the soils can do the work.
The soil can do the work. Yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
If Pat wanted some competent soil.
Yeah.
It's a competent soil, more competent soils. Right. Thank you. Thanks for that. So, yeah, go through. I'm sorry, it seemed a bit of a leak, that, didn't it? So, moving on to item 114, with Kirklees Council Planning Officers' decisions. There were three where there was a difference between what we suggest, our decisions and Kirklees' decisions. Two of them where we'd supported and then Kirklees refused, and in the other one it was the other way around. Where we objected was the one on Hollingbrigg Lane, you know, opposite Hinchliffe Mill School, where we thought it would be not a good thing to have vehicles coming on and off and the road there. But anyway, Kirklees staff or officers, staff or councillors thought the opposite. Okay, so that's noted. Okay, happy, noted. Thank you. Neighbourhood
Was
planning.
there any specific reasons why the other two were refused?
I can't. I didn't really. I did look, but I did look, but I didn't note it down. So
I've seen refused on the on what Richard sent, but I didn't know what reason it was that they refused.
Well, I know the decking in Somervale was just thought to be too huge. I remember that one. The decking was enormous.
Yeah, well, I can understand that.
So I can't. The other one, Three Spring Gardens. Oh, the extension. Yeah, the extension was too prominent. I think effect on the streetscape. Those were the reasons. Right. Okay. Ready to move on to item 115? Yeah. Neighbourhood planning.
Neighbourhood plan. Yeah. Just to say that the Regulation 16 consultation, which run by Kirklees Council, has now started. I sent around an email to all council members, so you should have seen further details of that. It runs till early February, and any comments submitted to that then go to the planning inspector. So it sort of is very much out of our hands at this stage, but I would just ask you to encourage individuals or groups who want to have say either in favour of the neighbourhood plan or with other comments about it, to take the opportunity to take part in the consultation. So there's obviously we've put it on our Facebook page, our website, and I've put about 15 posters up around the valley. But obviously it makes a difference if you can contact your local networks to encourage them to have their say if they wish, even if it's just a kind of one-line comment. It all helps.
Good. Any questions, Rachel? No? It's a slow process, isn't it? But it is moving forward. So that's good. All right. Okay. Peak District National Park Authority, a couple of items. Decision notices, there was only one, and there wasn't any difference from our decision. So can we note the list of decision notices, please? Thank you. And then the item B is a survey of the local plan. Did anybody? I had trouble. I have to say, I had trouble sorting this out, getting through to it. Rachel.
I had a bit of a look just at the process rather than the content of the local plan today, and it's clearly in the text that the Peak District National Park say it's really for members of the public, individuals rather than groups, to comment, or organisations like ourselves. So I wasn't going to propose that we put together a parish council perspective at this stage, because it's to try and inform. It's kind of at the first stage really of their local plan, so it's to inform what's called the issues and options, which is about understanding what concerns people have and what the opportunities are. It's like it's kind of, I mean, from a neighbourhood planning perspective, it was like the first thing you did. So it was like so don't pass go until you've done a bit of initial research. So what I was going to suggest we do is ask Home Residents Association if they want to encourage their members to participate as individuals, and also if I ask the guys on the neighbourhoods development plan steering group if they as individuals wish to take part, because obviously they've got some knowledge about the discussions we had that were different for in the Peak District versus the whole area. But otherwise I think our perspective is kind of, well, we've done the neighbourhood plan which talks about how the Peak District is different, but clearly they're not looking for organisations to take part, so I would suggest we just contact those two sets of people.
Yeah. Are people happy with that as a way forward? I looked at the unusually it was a kind of survey when you can actually move on when you haven't ticked a box, so I went quite a long way into it, and there was all multiple choice questions, and it would be impossible to create a collective response. So you know, but they obviously don't, then it's not what they're expecting. So okay.
Sorry, can I just could we also flag it up to our two councillors who represent the Upper Home Valley, because they may wish as individuals too.
Yeah. Is it worth putting something on the Facebook? I mean, it only refers to, but
it's already there, councillor.
It's already there, is it? Great. Thank you. Thanks, Rich. Right. Moving on to the Kirklees Council consultation on supplementary planning documents. I mean, it's Daryl. Thanks, enormous thanks to Daryl who's pulled it together. I often think pulling things together is a lot harder than sitting down and doing your own response. It takes a lot longer than actually starting from with a blank sheet of paper. Well, that's what I find anyway. So thanks to Daryl. Has everybody people managed to see this? It was circulated this morning, wasn't it? I think I quite like the tone. That's what I was trying to do in the response. Yeah. And thank you for those people that sent input to Daryl. It's trying to balance elements of criticism, which we obviously have, but against general welcome for being asked to respond. So right, does anybody any questions? Rachel?
I haven't got any questions. I just wanted to thank Daryl for putting it together. Like you said, I think it covers everything it should do, if you like. And I suppose it just needs topping and tailing, presumably by Rich, so it can be submitted. Yeah. And I just want it might be worth just checking. There was one bit where it says egg rather than EG.
Yes,
I haven't got it in front of me, so I can't remember where it was. So I just wonder if it's just quickly worth reading it through as it's topped and tailed and sent.
Yes, do spell check it.
Yeah. Yes, well, there's another point where you say I. And it needs to be.
Yes, it
needs to be we.
It was a mix. What I tried to do was mix everyone's feedback. Some people said I, some people said the council, and others said we. So in my document, there's probably, I've tried to cut out and make it the parish council all the time, and then occasionally put we in. So
it's just,
I think there's just the council really all the time.
Probably just want to sketch you. I change it before I printed it. So right, can't find it now. Yeah,
I'll have to do that sort of thing.
So thanks very much, Daryl. I think it is good practice when we asked if we're asked to respond to some consultation. I think it's really good practice to do it. But it can be tight, can be very, it can be quite time consuming. So thank you. Right. Any more comments? Nope. Great.
Do we need to approve it, Mary, as a response?
I guess we do need to approve it. Yeah. Right. So are we happy? So we approve this. Yep. As our response, and Kirklees have said they're willing to accept because today was the last day for responses, but Kirklees have reassured Rich that they're happy if it goes in tomorrow. So is that okay, Rich?
Well, I'm going to do it tonight actually because they were a bit more narky than I thought they were going to be.
Oh, were they? Oh,
they were a little bit. I thought they would just go, oh yeah, it'll be fine, but no, they were quite. They were kind of like get it in before midnight, and it's.
You turn into a hamster or whatever. Oh.
like a tribble. I'll probably get it done by midnight tonight, for their peace of mind, I think, rather than anything else.
Thank you for your hard work.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Rich. Yeah, thank you for your hard work, Rich. Yes.
And Daryl as well, of course.
And Daryl, yes. Virtual clap. Yeah.
Thanks, Rich.
Round of clapping. Appreciate it. Good. Right. Moving on to 118, where we're back with Footpath 60 and Wolfstones Heights. Well, you've read what it says on the agenda.
Can I ask whether anybody's actually, because obviously the photos we were sent in September. I just wondered if anybody'd seen the whether a fence has actually gone up since that September photograph. I'm presuming it has, but.
Well, the photos the photo was sent. I mean, the posts are down the middle, aren't they, of the track, and then they've just put some like builders mesh around it at the moment. It looks absolutely totally hideous. I suppose what might be useful is anybody who's got photographs of it before
No, that is before. Well,
we need photographs now, Rich, don't we?
We need photographs now because this is a couple of months ago. It's probably a fence now, but
maybe they've done it.
Has anybody been up there and seen Paul? Sorry, Paul.
All I can say is the footpath is 1.2 metres. If they're wanting to make it so that it is 1.2 metres, which is the recognised size for a footpath, I think they're quite within their rights to put a fence up and make it smaller. If it was wider before, that was for their benefit and not for the benefit of anybody else. So to make it 1.2 metres wide, which is the official size that Kirklees have said it requires, and in areas like this, it's 1.2 metres. People always trespass because they never go above 1.2 metres wide. They always have dogs loose in fields. If it's on a 6-foot lead, it would go in the 1.2 metre distance. If we're going to have footpaths, let's have them kept to the registered size. And if they've made this narrower, but it is within the width and all the way down, it's the width that it should be, I don't think there's anything we can do about it, or anything we should do about it.
We were just asked to consider it, weren't we, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should just sort of note it. I mean, the footpath used to be wider in the sense that you just walked up the drive.
Yeah.
So, and that was the footpath. I mean, I've got no photos of that, but I'd walked up it numerous times when it was wide, and it seemed slightly peculiar to me to then set yourself up so there's a fence so that it's no longer wide enough for them to use it for vehicular access should they ever wish to do so. Just seems a bit of a curious decision, because I'm not quite sure who benefits from that, and obviously it makes it a narrower entrance. So notwithstanding they're trying to close that path at all, it just seems a slightly curious decision. But I don't have any particular comment other than it used to be wider, but I haven't got any photographic evidence to justify that. Michael?
I've no photographic evidence, but I've walked up there over the last few years numerous times, and it was just it was wide enough for vehicular access. There was no demarcation other than the gate at the top for whether it was between the footpath, what was footpath and what was the access track as such. So I cannot recall it being fenced off and confined to a 1.4 metre path at all. I mean, so it seems a bit seems a strange one to me. Anyway,
it wasn't fenced off before, Michael, but they're now wanting to do that to make it more private for themselves. And if it's 1.2 metres wide, that is the requirements that Kirklees require.
No, that's not what have I read it wrong?
Yeah, no, I think you've read it right. Tom?
Yeah, I don't think I'm the only one who's a bit bemused by this, because they were trying to divert the footpath before all the way around. I don't know if they're still trying to do that, or if this is some kind of compromise. But it's a bit of a weird compromise, because it's kind of spiting themselves, because it's going to be very narrow to try and fit a vehicle down the side there. So it's all a bit weird, if you ask me. But if it's with Kirklees for them to enforce it, I think we should just note it for now. Because if it's still maintaining the access there at the moment and they're not breaking any rules, I don't see what the problem is. But it's just very strange and a bit weird.
Sorry, somebody want to talk?
They're asking the parish council out there for a collective response, but it's more like an individual's kind of, they're asking the questions, isn't it? As the parish, if we're answering as the parish council, the questions we've got are a bit odd, like, has the parish council as a whole used this path? Well, I don't think the parish council as a whole has, or the width of the path. So I think the best way of responding to this would be that we've passed this on to individual councillors and asked them to make individual responses.
Yes, we could. We can do that. I think we just asked. Yeah,
I don't think we can give.
We can't make a collective response.
Not to the questions they're asking.
No, and we're not being asked. We're not being asked to. Tom.
Yeah, I can say I've walked on there before, and Michael has before. but I haven't walked on there in the last few weeks with a tape measure and measured the distance to make sure it's 1.2 meters. We can't really comment on it unless.
Yeah.
And I think we should kind of maybe keep out of this.
Yeah.
Like we've got the other issue which we're kind of involved with, but this is kind of a side issue, isn't it? So it's between them and Kirklees.
Well, should we agree to do what Michael suggested, which is ask if the other if all councillors would give all councillors the opportunity to respond as individuals.
Well, I think we should respond as the parish council, saying that we don't feel that we can answer these questions as the parish council body with the way that they're worded, but we have forwarded these onto individual councillors to make their own response if they do so wish. Does that make any sense?
Yes, are we happy with that? Yeah. You're happy with that? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So we move on. The last item, in effect. So, item 119. Meeting virtual meeting with Teresa Harlow. This has come about because I contacted Teresa Harlow when I became chair, and thought it would be quite useful for me to have a discussion with her, but actually when I had a bit of a rethink, thought it would be much more useful for her to come and speak to the whole and answer questions from the whole of the committee rather than just talking to me. So and the date, the Monday 11th of January was the earliest that we could do, because it's one of the dates when we don't have a 6:30 start. So I said that we would feed her some questions, which Paul.
Why do we have to feed her questions? Isn't she capable of giving answers there and then on the spot? If I go to any job and I've got a meeting with anybody, I get asked things and I've got to respond there and then. I don't agree. Kirklees Council have done this to me before on numerous occasions. Want all the questions and all the answers before you. So you've no chance of finding out their ability.
Well, the reason that she gives, and it's there on the agenda, is that some of the questions might.
She isn't capable of giving us answers that we want. She wants somebody else to answer the questions for her.
Well, different staff in Kirklees have different areas of responsibility. So some of our questions might span over into somebody else's area of responsibility. In fact, probably will. So she wants to make sure.
She should know the answers to everything.
Nobody ever knows the answers to everything, Paul.
I do.
No, you don't.
Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing we want is to ask her questions and then say, I'll have to come back to you. It would be nicer if, I'm sure she'll take general questions as well. But
yeah.
No, but Rachel, you then find out how good she is. If
well,
she
that's
can't
not something over which we have any control, Councillor Dixon. We're
not interviewing her for the job.
We're not doing her HR appraisal.
Right.
Yes.
So
I think one of the things
we're paying somebody a lot of money to do this job, and if they can't give you the answers and don't know the answers, I'm sorry, but they shouldn't be there.
But we can't do what about that if that is the case. We don't employ her. We can't sack her.
Rachel.
Unless you know something you do.
Can I still? I mean, I've got questions like what happens with the enforcement of breaches of things like in the conservation area. Can you talk us through the process by which, because we've obviously had that really long period, didn't we, where we put in a complaint about those shops in Home Firth, and we don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. How does that work? That's a question I'd like to understand.
I was going to
suggest maybe we all send questions to a central point.
I was going to suggest that I'll happy to be that central point. So if you have questions, if you send them to me, and then I'll make sure they get to.
If something crops up during the discussion, and you want to ask a question at the end based on something that's been said, because you haven't sent that question, you can refuse to answer it.
No, I'm pretty sure she won't. I'm sure we can.
Well, they have done before, Mary.
We can ask supplementary questions.
Please have done before.
So this is all in the interests of building up really good relations with the Kirklees staff, because we are going to have to work very closely with them, perhaps more closely in the future. Okay, so any questions, send them to me. I'll formulate a few of my own as well. So, right.
When do we need to send them to you, Mary?
Oh, how long do you want?
Friday, then it'll be 3 weeks later.
Say that again, Daryl.
So say Friday, because then it might be 3 weeks later.
This Friday is a bit early, isn't it? Give people, what, 10 days to respond?
Into Christmas.
Send me questions.
You could send them to at the beginning, straight in the new year, couldn't you? So if we
okay, that's probably better. Yeah, have a great deal to do, will we? So if you send them to me by, but I prefer them earlier, but if you send them to me by first of January. 2nd of January. That do.
Give you something to read over Christmas, Mary.
Well, absolutely. So I don't have it.
Keep yourself amused.
Right. Thank you, everybody. There's been a few more laughs in this committee meeting than we might have had lately. So thank you all very much. And we've got what looks like a really heavy, full council meeting. Lots of weighty stuff. So I think perhaps, quarter of an hour to have a cup of tea is probably a good idea. So thank you. Thanks, Rich. I'll see you all again in about quarter of an hour. Okay.